mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm Phil. I'm from Twin Lakes Park over in Melton Mowbray, Leicestershire, near Nottingham, actually, over in the UK. And we have a scream park called Extreme Scream. Do we call it Extreme Scream UK or just Extreme Scream?
Extreme Scream Park.
It's the Extreme Scream Park in the UK. The Extreme Scream Park.
Award-winning.
Award-winning, lots of awards.
And you didn't just wake up and all of a sudden you had a theme park in your pocket. Like, how did it come to be?
Oh my Lord, it's a long story. It started back in the 80s. Mike's probably better. He remembers the dates better than I do. Approximately 84, 85, something like that. We were dairy farmers at that time, and they brought in what was milk quotas, and we had spare land. So we decided, after a lot of debating, to put in a theme park and a touring caravan. You don't call them caravans, do you? What do you call them?
Touring caravan. Like, you talking about like a circus?
No. Oh.
A train.
No, it looked like circus. Okay, I do look like circus operators with these things on. No, tents and what do you call them? They don't call them. This is my brother Mike.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name.
This is Gaurav and Amir.
So just say it slowly.
Just call him Gravy. You know the gravy you pour the chicken? He's the gravy.
Okay, chicken gravy.
The sauce.
So what happened was we diversified from agriculture, which of course you are doing to a degree as well, aren't you? And then so we've got a theme park down there and touring caravan units and tents. And then we moved to the Midlands nearly 20 years ago, in 2002. And then we got another theme park going, and we became interested in the haunted house industry really about 10 years ago. And then I think it's about 8th season, 8th or 9th, coming out this year. So, 10 years ago, that was when we started getting into the haunted house industry.
Your journey of going into producing food to servicing people and being more in tourism, it wasn't just an overnight decision, or was it? How did that come into play?
Well, it was pretty much overnight, really. I think farming was something we weren't particularly good at, and the old man was sort of looking for something different to do, so he was one that made the decision. But making a decision and then implementation, as you would probably know, are very, very different things. So, yeah, he made the initial call on it, and then there's 3 brothers, and we sort of got into it and haven't got out yet.
How did it start? You guys just like, okay, let's just buy a ride, or?
We had a farm. We were farmers with, say, 160 odd acres. And then farming wasn't particularly brilliant, and we weren't very good at it. So father was looking for something different to do. So he made the decision to open a park, open it to the public. Pretty low key, first of all, a bit of accommodation, and then it grew from there.
No, the classification of a park, you didn't just call yourself a park. How did you guys start? Did you just add a ride, or what did you guys do to start that journey towards people coming there for fun? What did you guys change?
My question is, what was the inspiration as well? Like, why did you want to go from farming to?
There was a small number of very low key sort of tourist attractions, because we were in a tourist area down in the southwest, and it is there. There are, at that time, there were a lot of tourists down there. And so that was kind of the inspiration. But you guys have a thing in America, I forgot what it's called now, some sort of farm diversification.
In America they might, but in Canada there's no money or grant or push from the government saying, hey, listen, you guys got to diversify your farm. It's mostly just on the farmer to make that decision. In America, I don't think there are obviously governing bodies that do help the tourism industry, and there's people here as well, like private organizations that get together and they'll have these meetings to say, okay, this is what's happening in the tourism industry, just to collectively help each other out. But there's no push from the government at all. So there's actually many limitations that we have to deal with. Being on agricultural land, we're not allowed to go by a Ferris wheel or any type of tram, like you were saying, that we can put on our property. It's not allowed at all. So if we were to do that, we'd get shut down provincially.
Yeah, it's not considered agriculture, so you're not growing anything with your land.
And so that, do you guys don't have to deal with any regulations like that, eh?
Yes, yeah, we had to have a change of use. We had to have like planning permission, and we changed a part of the farm was changed from a farm to a visitor attraction.
I remember when I was there, you guys had the Easter building you had set up, and you had to get rid of the top floor.
Yeah, well, that's a long way down the road.
Yeah.
Great, a long way
Yeah.
down the road. But when we changed originally, yes, we're the same in this country. You can't. There is something about you can do something for 28 days, but we have a planning regulator, which is the local authority, and they can come and insist that you do certain things, or like you say, shut you down. But so we applied for planning permission to change our land from agriculture to leisure use. That was what we did.
Now, Phil, where you guys are sitting, and Mike, where you are now, you see your direction with offering a theme park changing in the next 5 years with the pandemic, or do you feel like you're still going to be offering the same type of experience?
We thought we're trying to get out and about to sort of gauge what are people doing, how are they feeling, what are they thinking, and there's a lot of people are really pretty nervous. They're pretty nervous about some fundamental stuff. How many big crowds do you want to get in? How close do you want to get to people that are getting really, really excited? Some of the things that, for example, firework night, special event days, we would have said they're absolute stock in trade stuff for us. So, yeah, we are going to have to think about that. Maybe it's going to be sort of rounded up in just spend less. Just spend less. How quickly can we get back to a group of, say, I don't know, 3,000 people watching fireworks? We don't see that happening for quite a long time.
No, I understand. And your loss in revenue, is it a heavy hit, or how is it? Or do you even have a loss in revenue? This guy's pretty smart over here. This guy with the coveralls on. So sometimes maybe he'll be able to figure something out.
Well, we're very limited really as to what we can do. So it's a case of probably the same for you people. You've got to try and screw things down real tight.
Yeah.
And see what you can and can't do. The whole country is still coming to terms with what's going on over here, and that includes the banks. The banks are going to be keen to go around and operate by what we would call the prior normal criteria. A lot of that malarkey's gone out the window. And we went into this and tried to say to our people, it's going to be very, very difficult. It's like a war situation, and there's going to be a huge number of casualties. And it's exactly what we're seeing. We lost one of our best parks in the whole country a couple of days ago. A family that's very, very deep rooted, accumulated at certain times a lot of what we call clean cash, and pretty much lost it all. And then the third or fourth park that's closed. So yeah, we think it's going to be really, really difficult.
So that theme park went under, like they're done.
They've brought it, yeah, but the family's gone.
Wow, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
And your staffing, are you guys still have the same amount of staff, or are you letting people go? Is that difficult?
No, one of the first things that we understood is that, look, again, probably the same for you people.
Yeah.
You've got to get your costs down to absolute zero. I mean, you try and look after your prime people and try and look after people, which we've done a lot over the years. One of our main things has been sort of like reinvestment and give our staff loads of opportunity to really progress, express themselves. All that's gone out the window. It has to go out the window. We're in a sort of survival mode, so all we can do is look after what we actually need to open. That's where we are at the moment.
We are open at the moment, but on very limited numbers. Very limited.
I see. And where are you guys in your yearly seasonal path? Where are we in a low time for you guys? You guys been coming up to a big time or a busy time with fall coming around the corner, or where are we now?
Holidays, so it's should have been one of our busiest times of the year.
Wow. Wow, and it's not busy out there.
We have a long dead time. We have a few people through for Christmas, but we have nobody through in January. We have 1 week in February when the schools have what we call a half term, Then for 1 week we can get people through, and then we have a dead time right up until Easter. So through the winter we have to spend a lot of money with no income.
Wow,
So now is really, really important to us.
I see.
I see. And then with the fall coming up, are you guys ready to bring some money in, or how is the plan for that? And I guess you could ladder it into Haunted as well, or just your Scream Park.
This time of year, your main income source, would it be the water park?
The water park is included in the theme park with no extra charge. So it's a one umbrella charge. And yeah, if we have a heat wave, the water park would have strong pulling power for sure.
I see. And so, are you guys ready for the fall?
We're doing some alterations on the hotel, so we've got quite a lot to do. It's not a huge project, but we're changing the backstory and the theming of the hotel. We're changing around, so there's a bit to do. But we are just starting to get stuff ready. We've got electricians coming next week, and we've been going through, Beth and I today, looking at the animatronics, making a list of things up for the. I don't know how many animatronics do you think we've got, Beth? It must be 50, 40, 60.
There now, but a lot.
And so the electricians will probably take them 2-3 weeks just to get everything put back together, make sure there's no vermin damage anywhere, and then getting things, starting to get things fired up, checking the lights. There's a lot to do between now and the first week of October when we open. But yeah, we are. And when do the actors? We start looking at them.
We've already started recruiting actors already, so we've already got a number of applications from them. And then it'll be looking at getting auditions done as soon as possible.
We have government guidelines that we have to adhere to. When we're dealing with our staffs and people coming in for auditions. So there are a lot of things to bear in mind, and there's a lot to do between now and then.
I understand. And then how does Corona affect all of you guys' planning? Do you guys have a contingency plan for Corona or no?
It means a lot of this for a start.
A lot of mask wearing. Yeah.
No masks.
Yeah, a lot of masks.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the government guidelines are we have to keep 2 meters apart. We don't really want people indoors. And if we are indoors, we have to have throughput of air. And as much as possible, we every single person indoors has to wear a mask. And we will take our mask off to talk to you.
For us, Phil, like when we have a good scare, we might be this close, real up close to get that effect going. Some of our line actors, some of the people who are in very visible areas, we want that sense of closure and putting them up against the wall, not touching them, but getting real close. We can't do that anymore. We're pretty much that's not going to be allowed. I'm gonna try because I have a meeting today with Fraser Health. That's their governing body here in British Columbia that says, okay, this is allowable, this is not allowable in regards to your business. They can't shut your business down, but they can say this is what you can and cannot do. So I made that contingency plan, which is about 30 pages. I sent it to you and I sent it to them, and then so today we're gonna come in and talk about it. But are you guys addressing these challenges, or you just gonna let it be, or what's the plan?
No, we have to address them. Whatever the recommendations are, there are a number of authorities that can come in, not just a local authority. There's a nationwide authority that they can come and shut us down. So and also our insurance company as well. We have to work with insurance. So there's a number of bodies that we're working with. I mean, Mike and Beth probably, and Wayne particularly, know more about that than I do.
But how do they make it fun?
Different way. We're the same as yourselves. The up close scare is gone. The touching people is gone. What we have to try and work out is, and what we're trying to work through now, talking with people like yourselves, is what can you do? And instead of shouting at people, that's going to be gone. We're seeing all of our people wearing masks.
Yeah.
Besides the mask, we see them all wearing a mask, and then maintaining a distance of, say, at least a meter, so they can't be touched, and the public can't be touched either. And then, of course, we've got to address things like costume. The bugs in the costume. How do you decontaminate? Say, on a run of 2 or 3 or 4 nights in a row. We think that is going to be a little bit of a challenge. But overall, we're saying that the public, I know you should never ever dictate to the public, but we are saying to our public effectively, things are different. We cannot say to you, go in there, someone's going to jump all over you, and you can touch this, touch that. We're going to have to be saying to our public, please don't touch anything. We mean nothing at all. So anything like squeezes will be gone.
Yeah.
Anything clothes, walking through a wardrobe type effect, they'll have to go. And then the public have to accept it's not going to be the same experience as before. I guess that might be the same as saying it's not going to be so scary and so intense. But what do you do? Another thing we have to bear in mind all the time is we are now in a situation in the United Kingdom where they do localized lockdowns. So if you have a COVID spike in your region, which can be a city or a town or even a bigger area, a couple counties, then they will close those areas down for a week or 2 or 3. So we're doing everything expecting to be not able to open at all. So our capital input, anything that we're spending is absolutely minimal.
Wow.
And there are quite a number of attractions are not going to operate, particularly teardowns, because they can't take the risk of the expense of putting everything up and then getting shut down.
Wow.
So I can think of at least, I think it's 4 attractions are not going to run.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Here at the Haunted Cormets, because we're an outside area, it's completely outdoors. We do have shipping containers that we put throughout the cornfield, and then we cut holes in them, and then inside those shipping containers and around those shipping containers, we'll make displays, and sometimes we'll even connect shipping containers. So I'm doing less of the connecting, and I'm keeping more space in between all the containers. But I still do intend on putting people through the containers. I just don't intend on having employees near them as they're going through a container. A shipping container is only 8 feet wide, and you can't maintain those 2 meters. You can't maintain those 6 feet. It's impossible, essentially, if you really want to get a good scare. I'm sure you could if you cut a door through the container and you go in and out. So we're experimenting with that as well. But what I just invested in, because at the end of the day, if people are coming there, they're paying $30, $40 a ticket. I don't know how many quid that is. It's like 20 quid, 25 quid just to get in. They still want to have a good experience, regardless of COVID's going on or not. So I'm buying a few actor-matronics, from Gorgalore. You know what those are? They kind of just move in and out. You can maintain those 2 meters with that. You really can maintain those 2 meters, and I think you can get real up close and personal without touching them and having a big effect. So I'm putting, I think, 2 of them to kind of leave a lasting memory, and I'm actually theming the haunt towards a boy who gets lost in a farm, and he finds a testing facility for a vaccine on animals. And then that's the theme, all about the vaccine and about animals. And so my marketing material is going to replicate that as well. And just like you said, we just have to make everyone, all the customers, very confident in the experience that they won't be exposed to anyone else or areas which have been touched by other customers. So that's what we have to do.
Yeah. When you're feeding your group through, and how big are your groups? Are they going to be all just the family bubble that goes for people that know each other?
Family bubble. I'm not selling tickets grouped less than 4. I'm selling 4, 5, and 6. It's gonna save me so much time that I'm not dealing with 2s and 3s. And then also, because we get limited by 50 people in an event at a time. And so how are we supposed to make money at 50 people? I'm not gonna charge $1,000 per person. That's ridiculous. So what I'm gonna do is, we have zones 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's a linear path. You start over here. And when you go through the entire attraction or the parking lot or the check-in experience, it's still a linear zone. It's all one direction. There's no coming back. Once you leave that area after a 30-minute time slot in one area after one zone, the whole zone gets disinfected. It's just tabletops, maybe handrails, doors going open and shut, which are very minimal because we're still outside. And that area just gets disinfected. Just hand spray, hand spray and a cloth, exactly. Just a little pump mechanism. And it's just, we are, I think being a farm, it really lends itself to COVID. Social distancing is very easy. There's no closed environments. There's always air circulation. It's simple, you know, on a farm. It just kind of gets tricky managing 6 to 1,500 people a night. It gets pretty tricky. So that's where we have those zones, and you start at zone 1 and all the way through zone 4. With zone 4, at the end of zone 4 is the end of the traction you got to go, and each zone is 30 minutes. So by the time you finish, you've been here for 2 hours. And so we're selling all our tickets online. I'm not going to sell anything at the door. We really have to specify our disinfecting protocol, and behind house, in front of house. Like I sent Phil a plan. I'm sure he can show you guys that plan that we have. So that's pretty much us, you know.
How are you going to cope with the costumes?
I'm hoping to hire staff that don't leave and come every single day. That's my hope, and I can dedicate a costume for them. You know, that's my ideal hope, is I can dedicate one costume for them.
How many nights are you doing?
A lot this year, more than last year. You know, because of how the season lined up. I think we have 6 weekends, 5 or 6 weekends. So we're probably doing about 23, 24 nights. So more nights we do, more people we can put in a less time zone, with less, with more social distancing. But I'm spending more money than I should. I know that, and I'm gambling more than I should. I think that's what farmers are just gamblers at the end of the day. You know, we spend all our time and effort on growing something, and Mother Nature can say, yeah, see you later, no thanks. So I think it's a bit of a risk. Is it nice to just close up shop and say, okay, we're not doing it this year? Yeah, it's nice, but I think that's just not. It's a disservice to the business, to the community, and it's like quitting. And like my whole family and I, we never raised up as being quitters. We always want to push forward and try something new. So
I think we're going to try it.
So what about your marketing message? Are you putting a specific sort of slant on your marketing to try and reassure and that type of thing?
Yeah.
From right all the marketing right from the beginning, like we're going to start with our preluding of saying this is going to happen this year. It's going to have the hashtag COVID style. COVID style. Every single thing is COVID style, just so people can get our understanding that, listen, we're addressing all of the challenges that come into play, but we're still going to provide you guys a fun experience. So it's COVID style. And then our signage, like inside that plan, there's a list of all the different types of signage we're going to have. Phil has that.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's very helpful.
No problem. Well, Fear Factory made that plan. Like they reorganized the plan for them, and I just reorganized it for myself. And I had to obviously really adapt it to how our operation works. It's good. Like all my management's read it. My parents have read it. They said, yeah, after reading it, they feel like they're confident in opening up. So it does that. Like maybe it might not even be a bad idea to post that plan on my website, so they can see, the customers can see, And I think that really comes into your marketing, is just communicating beforehand and getting that message across. It's difficult. Like this year, what we're also doing is virtual queuing. When you go to a restaurant and you haven't got a reservation, so you walk up, you go to the lady, hey, it's me and my wife, I want to sit down. And she'll say, okay, it's a 30-minute wait, please give me your phone number. And so she puts your phone number in the system, then you get a text message. When it's your time to go to the front, you get a text message saying, okay, come on up, it's time for you to sit at your table. Same type of thing. When people come to the farm, I haven't worked out all the kinks, and I don't have all the answers and how, but they're gonna have access to a software, or an app or a website that they say, okay, we've just checked in, we've arrived, and when it's their turn, they're gonna get a text message or an email saying, all right, come on up, and so no crowds at all, and people can wait in their car,
And in your country as a whole, are all the people going for it, all the screen operators, are they all looking to open? It's all.
No, Mike, it's different here. We don't have too much competition. There's a few of us. We've grown pretty large in the recent years. There's one very large attraction. It's called Pacific National Exhibition. The evening they have a theme park just like you guys do. And they haunt it in the evening, so they put actors, and they have haunted houses going. Fright Night.
Yeah.
They are planning on opening from what I've heard last, and they've already, like, her theme park is open. But just the same type of scenario that you said. She stated on an article that she hires 4,000 people in a regular year. This year she only hired 300. So it's a big reduction. Big reduction, yeah. Very big reduction. So
Not Beth, can we cut our acting team down to that much?
You won't have any then.
That's right.
So it's very big difference.
Just backtrack on one little thing you said about your animatronics. We have a lot of animatronics, and we found poison props are by far and away the best ones.
Poison props.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
We bought some from other manufacturers, not the one, we've got some from the one you mentioned, but there are one or two others that are really rubbish, to be honest with you, really poor. Very
Yeah.
yeah, well, I don't think anyone else offers the type of actimatronic. It's an actimatronic, not an animatronic I'm talking about. It's a little bit different. It's a big. Like, we bought a big pig's head, like a really big pig's head. It's like 4 or 5 feet wide, and the whole jaw goes up and down, and it's hanging on a sled, like a slide, that it's on a chain. And so the person that's standing on the other side of the pig's head has handlebars and a couple of buttons, and he's able to push it in and out, get into the people's face. And so if the lights were to come on and this pig is just squealing, it's a really big scare. It's a really solid scare from my perspective. It's a lasting impression. So
Yeah, we got one in the pie factory.
you got one in the pie. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And then what else are you guys changing? Are you ready? Could you start selling tickets or?
We can sell tickets. No, we're not ready. No.
But also the country at the moment is still sort of shaking things down, settling down. So we're thinking probably not selling anything until, say, 1st of September. So another month on from now, hopefully we'll have a much better idea of where things are. It's like the UK hasn't quite got the balance between the cost of the virus in lives versus the cost of the virus to the economy, and it's actually quite a long way off. So we're still hearing some crazy stuff. The other day we were told by the government all the over 50s are going to have to be self-isolating, lock yourself in a room. So nothing against the brilliant young people that we've got, but us old people have got a little bit of experience. I mean, we just could not believe it. It was just absolutely, and this was coming from our main government. So we have to accept there's still some crazy stuff to go on, and the country hasn't settled in to a COVID accommodating environment. That's roughly what I'm trying to say. There's still, like I say, some crazy things going on. So we're trying to leave the decision as long as possible, really.
And they have let us out, by the way, and we are over 50.
Yeah, they turned that
apart from
decision
Beth and
over.
Wayne.
3 days later, they scrapped that. 3 days later.
What do you think that they'll do that later on in the fall, or?
No, they scrapped that idea now.
Okay.
A lot of the more experienced business brains are sort of. There's some brilliant young people. There's 2 here.
Yeah.
It would be very strange, don't you think, to sort of suddenly lock away the people that. All right, we might be a lot slower, and you do lose it as you get older. Sadly, that's the way it is, isn't it? But you can still remember a little. Why in the name? Why would you ever even consider 10 all 50-year-olds? That's it. Get in your bedrooms and don't come out until we tell you.
Oh shit!
Wow.
So Mike, if you guys are gearing up now, and then for us, we have a scare of a second wave in the fall, because it's flu season for us. If someone said, hey, okay, Mike and Phil, you guys have to shut it all down. We can't be open. Would you do that, or how would it affect you?
Well, we wouldn't have any choice. There are 2 or 3 different authorities that can tell us. Even we're in a situation that we've never seen before. We are having a bit like the 50 plus that nearly happened. A directive came out the other day from central government, and it actually said soft play areas cannot open. In our lifetime, we've never ever seen that before. So we could even have a directive from central government, coming almost direct from our Prime Minister, from 10 Downing Street, saying, right, here's something that's a clear and present danger. We can see it. Our so-called experts assess this, right. And they actually, I mean, when you think about it, our government should be dealing with, say, your government, or think about quite big things, really, like big things. They actually said, indoor play areas, you cannot open. This is a law. I'm telling you right now. So, yeah, we wouldn't have any choice. We'd just have to grin and bear it. And yeah, for sure, it would cost us money. Yeah, it costs us quite a lot.
Wow.
That's crazy.
You see this being gone by next year?
Well, we know so little, the same as everyone, really. I mean, we try and get around a bit. We in the UK, or particularly England, we've got lots and lots of different types of people. And we've got a young generation that are, an element of them are really dopey. Not these two people, these are not dopey people, but they're different to us. We all know, it's like we're sat now and we're probably a little bit nervous, really. We'd much rather be sat outside, like you said, have a flipping air sweeping through. But we've got a quite a big element of the population. They're all going out, jumping all over each other,
Oh my
going
God.
crazy. I mean, going to the beaches, almost sat, and that's thousands and thousands of people. In some areas, to say 10, 15,000 people. So we're saying, okay, and we've had some big rallies. If they're doing that, then really there should be lots and lots of big spikes, which there hasn't been. So maybe the second wave is going to be much more, localized stuff. That's what we're thinking.
It's a good way
But
to
as
think about
far
it.
as how long do we think until the virus is gone, we're not optimistic until next Easter at best. And then as far as the economy is concerned, we think 3 to 5 years before it's anything like decent. And we think sort of 6 months to a year before, lots of people just don't understand.
Yeah.
Lots of young people, they've never seen it. They cannot get their heads around it. One of our best business people would say like Richard Branson. Richard Branson, a very, very sort of go forward sort of bloke. And all right, he's made mistakes. His Coca-Cola was smashed up by Pepsi. But a lot of the stuff he's done is very, very good and has generated tremendous wealth, jobs. His favourite project, as we understand it, is Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah.
Well, Virgin Atlantic is in the hands of administrators and receivers. That's how bad it is. We're talking about millions and millions of people. We're not like Canada. We've got 2 or 3 really important international hub airports. Where people have to fly here and then they go on to Asia, or they fly information, then they go to America or Australia. We've got all that malarkey, and we're not like the French. We do travel a lot with that sort. I don't know why, but with those sorts of people. But we've got a massive industry, millions and millions of people. That have to fly planes, maintain planes, manufacture planes, look after airports. All that malarkey at the moment, I don't know how many it is, 2 or 3 million. They're all just kicking their heels. So it's grim, and we think it's going to be ages before, first of all, everyone understands what's actually happening.
Mike, how has it affected you guys' morale? You as an owner, also someone who is a little wiser than the rest of us, just like Phil is a little wiser than the other 4 people sitting in this video call. How has it affected you guys' morale and your outlook on this year or the next 5 years? Are you guys changing the way you're living? Is that a...
The thing we really, really don't like about it is there are so many elements that are currently what we would call unquantified. We came through the 70s, we grew up as human beings really in the 70s in England. It was really grim. Really, really grim, super tough. Nothing was free. We were sort of living on bread and a few bits and pieces, really. But there was, you didn't know where it was, what it was, and then the 80s and a few other crashes. And there were things like, there were other countries that were doing better than us, so they could balance it up. And then there were always elements of the economy within reason that were, again, going to balance things up. At the moment, we haven't got any sort of real concrete go forward idea what's going to happen with the virus. We've absolutely bloody no idea on the economy. Honestly, it's just a bloody shambles. It's a shambles. And the scary thing is there's nothing fixed. It's not like you could say, oh, that looks good. Well, I suppose you say Amazon,
Yeah.
Amazon delivery, but we all know it takes a hell of a lot more. And some of the stuff that we considered, like say London, was really strong for us, that we were chucking loads of money out all over the country, although some people don't like it. Well, London's absolutely shaken to its roots, no one's going there.
Exactly. No, 100%.
We don't like it because we're in sort of mega unknown. That's, we're used to seeing something, considering it a challenge, a plus or a minus, quantifying it, putting it into certain boxes, if you like, and then having certain ways of trying to deal with things. With this, nothing at the moment, almost nothing is quantified, nothing is in a box, which is just like a sort of a surreal, horrible, poison sort of mirror maze.
Yeah,
And then you bump into things I know I keep going about the over 50s thing, but honestly, our best brains in the whole of England all got together and said it's a good idea to lock up all the over 50s. Bloody hell, man.
There's a huge number of office blocks in London. There's a lot of people working finance. It is pretty much a world financial centre. And they are saying, and to give you an example, we were dealing with some, I think they were accountants the other day, and they said they have 3 floors in a particular office block in London. And I think it was approximately, it cost them rent £1 million for each floor. And they've obviously, a lot of people have been working from home, and they've told the people that own the office block, tough luck, fellas, we now are going to cut it down to at least just 2 floors and possibly even 1. And we're hearing from, particularly with working from home, that we think is going to be a huge change. A lot of people are going to work from home, do hot desking, go down to London or to one of the cities, or where it might be the office, maybe 1 or 2 days a week. And so that could be a massive change. And like I said, particularly for London.
What is entrepreneurship? How do you be a good entrepreneurship, Phil and Mike? Like, what do you think that it really takes to be a good entrepreneur?
Okay, well, I do have what I call key things. We have key people that we listen to. People like Walt Disney. We think we're absolutely fantastic people. In our business, we always say be driven by the people. If I had to sell a piece of knowledge, and I think it's worth an absolute fortune, and I don't say it to many people in all honesty, that's just sort of not a very nice person I am, but I would say listen to your people. Never ever give the people what you want to give them. Give the people what they want. And that simple line there, we've seen it destroy. When we were younger, we were very, very competitive. And particularly me, which did alienate me from a lot of people, but most of them didn't survive. And a lot of them had the sort of approach of, oh yeah, I'm really interested in trains, I'm going to give you 5,000 trains. This train looks exactly like the train that ran across, I don't know, Canada or went through the Rockies. Well, that's really interesting, but the average 6-year-old child thinks train. They don't care if it looks like an 18-wheeler or whatever it is. They want, it's got to be reasonable, it's got to be nice, but they think train. And we've seen people that collect cameras. I love cameras, that's why I'm going to give you loads of cameras. Well, that's great, provided you can afford to just do it as a hobby. But as an overall entrepreneur, then we would say that try and listen in this type of business. Try and listen to people. And the second bit of advice I would give would always be super duper educate yourself. You cannot be overeducated. When we were younger, we couldn't understand the inward-looking policy of a lot of people. Don't understand that. You can go to lots of places, and if you want to use subjective words like better, well, good for you, fill your boots. But if they're doing stuff better, go and have a look at it. Go and, so where you are. And then if you want to go forward, you should know, I've been to that park, that was rubbish. Was it rubbish because it was badly done or because it was in the wrong place? Try and understand it. Then some of the good stuff, if it's good, can you afford to duplicate? That's another thing. Never ever be afraid to duplicate.
Yeah.
We had loads of people left in car crashes, train wrecks behind us after our parts went forward, still shouting at us, "Oh yeah, I want to do something different." Yeah, we'll go on then. Well, loads of stuff's out there. Duplicating, and yeah, you want to improve, you want to personalise,
Yeah,
but it's not in any way weak, silly, or a cheap shot.
exactly.
If it's out there and it's doing well, then we have some things that we consider essential bolt-ons. So, say a competitor has, let's say, a really, really good carousel, and that's one of their headline things. We would buy a carousel just to steal their headlining ride. Then we put something else in as well. So their headlining ride becomes a sideshow. Then to compete with you, they then have to go again on something which hopefully is bigger and grander. And if you can, yeah, for sure. But
Mike, how did you educate yourself when you were younger?
very, very interested in what I was interested in, which at times has been really irresponsible. But I must admit, I did have an outlook for other people. Really enjoyed competitive things like, say, brains trust, teamwork stuff, entertainment. So I was educated by the world that was around me, and at times it was very, very brutal. Very, very brutal. And we, as three brothers, always said it did us a lot of good. It gave us hunger that we find very, very hard to get into young people.
Oh yeah.
What we went through, I wouldn't want anybody to go through.
To give you an idea of how grim things were at times, we had a nasty storm one winter, and the house that we lived in was so bad that the snow blew in through a hole in the window, piled up on the end of my bed. It piled up across the floor, sorry, and I had to put a rug on top of my bed to stay warm, and the snow was about 6 inches deep on top of the rug.
And you think that's bad? This is true. Even worse than that, on my bed, and this is, I do have a phobia about some things, and it does show that's the same on my bed, except in the snow was a footprint of rats. So, we did have, but right from an early age, we were very, very sort of creative, outward-looking people. We were never interested in doing nothing. I don't know why. That has quite a bit to do with Phil, actually. Phil is the sort of person that is always very, very, not just busy, but likes to look at quite a broad spectrum of things, and is interested in understanding things, in not just a fleeting sort of glance. But crikey, as far as I'm concerned, my sort of formative years and upbringing, it really was, I had some fantastic people around me, like say a couple brothers that were, incredible, but tough. Real super duper tough, and I didn't really sort of have anything to do with the initial part bit. But what I did, I don't know. I did a few like business things and ended up leading a few teams. And I always found whatever you did, it was all in. It was all or nothing.
How many days a week do you believe in working?
It's a very interesting question. When we began, we'd have times of the year that would start on July the 11th, and we didn't stop working until September the 4th.
Every day.
And we'd do stuff like, particularly Chris and I, the other brother, we'd go in at 8 o'clock, set all the teams up, and our teams would go up to say 100, 120, run the gates, taking money. He'd be going around the park, and as I came off the gate at, say, 11:40, around that sort of time, 11:45, 11:50, he'd move straight to one of our major catering points, and I would go to the other one. We'd run both of them, and in the meantime, run the park. So you're running catering points, and you've got the radios, so you do all your lunch breaks, all that malarkey, you're overseeing that as well. And then as the catering point shut down at, say, 1:55 to 2:10, he would get out later than me, probably about 2:25, and then do the circuit. And we're running a caravan park at the same time. And then I would run all the retail and ice cream points. And we did that, like I say, for the summer and for the Easter. And we did some crazy stuff. Yeah. We did crazy stuff. So but it was all in, we were like, if that's what it took. And that was what destroyed a lot of our competitors. We were not prepared. We were prepared to go When we said all in, we meant all in.
Yeah, but I think that I've seen with Phil is that it's probably, I feel like it's probably in you as well as just you guys as family, is that you guys are very hands on. You don't just go say, okay, you go do this, or you delegate to this person. You guys either have already done the task, or you will go help with the task, or you'll just go do it yourself. You don't care, you just go do it. And I think that's the same way that my dad is too. He just wants to get it done.
Yeah,
let's just do it.
When I was there, Phil spent like almost 4 hours giving me a tour. And through the tour, he was working. Like, he saw things that need to be fixed. And he was just constantly like, oh, this doesn't work, or this doesn't work. So you're constantly working like 24/7. You know, I feel like that makes a true entrepreneur, you know, and you're willing to shovel the shit.
I've always been interested in the brain and the mind. I don't agree with a brain and a mind working, say, on work for the whole time. I just don't agree with it. So when I drive, and sometimes, occasionally I'll take designs home and do stuff like that, but not very often. So when on the journey from the park to wherever I was living, in that journey I left everything home.
Oh, I see. You have your times of days or time of day when you're working, you're all in, or when you're leisure, you're all in.
So 7, so some quite longish days, and sometimes you do nighttime security bits and pieces. But yeah, I don't carry it with me all the time. For me, it doesn't work. For some, yeah, maybe it does, but for me, I just don't agree with it. I'm not so happy with even discussing it outside of work. You know, once with these people, yeah, for me, I could talk honestly all day, and with people like yourself, I could talk all day and all night. I'm very, very selfish. I'm not going to lie to you, and we have learned a lot. And I'm very, very protective about what I give away to other people, because I don't believe in making competitors' life easy. Our lives aren't easy, and that's the way it is. But yeah, once you're sort of outside of what I consider the work time, which is wherever it is you're living or staying, wherever it is, then yeah, I would really rather not talk about work at all.
Just one of the foundations, another sort of foundation of being an entrepreneur is being able to pick out the ideas and generally having a passion for that particular idea and then making that idea work. Because lots of people have ideas, and quite often they're good ideas, but they just can't put them into, like creating a scare attraction.
Yeah.
You know, we talked to, in fact, we bought some animatronics last year of a fella who put in a scare attraction, a fantastic actor, and he had great ideas, but his scare attraction was, and I think I did tell you about it actually, it cost an unbelievable amount of money and he went bankrupt. And what he actually created just wasn't good enough, although little individual pieces worked well. So yeah, so having those ideas and being able to say to yourself, this is going to cost, we have £35,000 to spend, and 26 of those £1,000 are going to create this, which will generate enough money to, at the very least, pay the interest and some of the money back. Or over the next 5 years, it'll be totally paid for. And after that, we're into making money that we can reinvest in something else. But being able to pick out those ideas and being able to say, this is how I can turn those ideas into actuals, that is a huge skill. Huge. Well, you have to have the passion. There aren't many people that succeed without that passion and drive.
Oh, one other definite thing, and something that, again, learned from somebody else, and it was somebody that assists us with buying property and that sort of thing. And he always says to us, what is your end game? So what's your end game? 1 year, 5 year, 10 years? And it might sound really, really obvious, but it's a heck of a good reference point. Sometimes when things get a bit sort of cloudy or you get a bit fatigued, what is your end game? That is a definite thing to yes.
Is that Mike? Has that been set in stone for you, or is it ever changing, or are you always working towards it?
Yeah, it has to change, doesn't it? Yeah, so that's a bit like what I was saying earlier on. One of the reasons we really don't like where we are now is you can't put together a formula because there's so many variables. Usually you can put in point A and then B and then multiply, divide, whatever you want to do, depending on how ambitious and then you'll work to some sort of figure, end game. At the moment, like I said, we got banks telling us crazy stuff. We've got central government telling us crazy stuff. We are not able to put together any sort of real formula at the moment, sadly.
What are you guys doing to have fun? I mean, have fun. Like this time is very grim. What do you guys do to keep your spirits up?
Well, our pubs are open,
Yeah.
and so we actually Louise and I do a lot of walking, a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And what do you guys do?
I don't do anything. What is fun?
I mean, there is sex. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, good question, really. At the moment, it's just not a fun time, but I always enjoy and still just about enjoy going around and seeing other stuff. So going to see other attractions, what are they doing? Other cities, how are they coping? What are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enjoyable and relaxing.
I think for people that have been through rough times, there's a part of them that is looking at this time and they're thinking positive. It's a hard time. You're growing, you're learning, but when you go through rough times, you're climbing, right? The reason why times are hard is because you're going uphill, right? If you guys can make it through, your competitors don't make it through, then you've got a big advantage going to next season. Yeah. No, I mean, we've been through some rough times as well. In 2014, our building actually burnt down. We had an arson. So we know like hard work and just going through rough times that builds character. I have a lot of friends who grew up on a farm and they're not farming anymore, and now our whole area is becoming corporate. All these big operations are buying out all these farms, and we have opportunities to buy those properties out. And we can build our business bigger. Just because we've been through those rough times, we've put in the work. So I think that's really valuable.
With the arson gravy that you had, Amir did tell me about it. What was the sort of loss, and what was the size of the building? What was the loss that you suffered?
So the building, we had built and fully operated the building in 2013, and then the summer of 2014 the building burnt down. So it was a brand new building. We spent I would say $2 million on the building, and it was a complete loss. The insurance covered the building and all the assets that we had, but the hard part was the business loss, like the operations loss, whereas we lost all the customers. We were still in the early stages of our business, so we're still bringing in customers, trying to build relations with our customers so they come back. And that was gone because people thought we were closed down for good. And that took, I would say, 2 to 3 years to get that back. That was the biggest loss. And the insurance company didn't, they looked at our past revenue and they based the insurance money on that. That was hard for us because when you're a growing business, you're making more money than you are last year, but the insurance is basing it on last year, right? So that was the biggest loss, and just losing our customers for years going forward. I think the biggest thing I took out of it as a positive is we're a winery. I'm the winery operations guy, so I run the winery. I do distribution. I actually make the product as well. I'm the winemaker as well. And in 2015, late 2014, I started going to liquor stores because we needed another source of revenue. Our tasting was pretty much shut down. We had no sales coming into our building. So I was like, why don't we go into liquor stores? So I took that risk. I went to stores. People loved our product, and now it kind of snowballed. And we're in over 180 liquor stores throughout all of British Columbia.
Did you say you make wine?
We make wine, yeah.
What sort of wine do you make?
So we specialize in berry wines. So we make blueberry wine, blackberry wine, raspberry, strawberry. Because we're farmers, right? So We've been growing berries for 40 years, and it was my dad's idea to have a value-added product. Let's start a winery, you know. And we're always innovating. We're always doing new things. So he was like, why not? And then I kind of got thrown into it. Started from scratch, and now it's really grown into a big thing. Like right now, we're sitting in our winery office, and when we started, I was literally making wine under a tent in freezing temperatures where like my water hose would freeze and I wasn't able to make wine, you know. So I went through all that, and now it's become we're in a fully operated winery now, so we're looking to expansion. So
We're going to have to go because we need to talk to something more important.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's been actually a pleasure to speaking with you guys. It's been very nice meeting you, Mike. I've never met Mike before. I don't think so. It was really fun talking. Sorry I had to head out of here. We're selling strawberries now. So
Good luck, Tim. Hope it goes well for you.
yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
All
you
the
so
best.
much, guys.